Agent outreach is the lead gen method I used. My split was 18,333. We split 55K 3 ways, actually. There was a third part. This is lone wolf right now. I am doing tons of partnerships, unofficial partnerships with people.
And we're back with another episode of To the Moon. And today we have the very special Isaiah Kline. I am so happy, guys, because Isaiah is one of my favorite people. And yes, I do say that all the time. But the only way that you get onto the moon is by the following two qualifications. First, you have to have gotten your first deal done using techniques that we teach you in Astroflipping. And second, I have to like you. And if you qualify on those two things, then you can absolutely make it to an episode of To the Moon. And Isaiah, man, it's been a wild ride, a great journey for you, but you're just getting started. And so, I know a little bit about you, but the people tuning in right now they probably don't know who you are. So take us in the time machine. We're hopping into the DeLorean right now. I want to rewind. First, tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, where you're working. How did you find wholesaling real estate? What a interesting niche in this world of real estate investing. And how did you come into the Astro community? And then we'll talk about your deal. But give us an idea of who Mr. Kline is.
Absolutely. I grew up in St. Louis, Missouri is kind of where I was raised. Ended up fast forwarding quite a bit, but I ended up in Indiana where I am now. I went to school at a small Christian school, Indiana Wesleyan University. And then post-graduation's where kind of the craziness began, the adulthood journey started, and it took a little bit to kind of find my path after graduating. Tried all kinds of different things. I was a financial services representative or financial advisor for a few months, and stuff happened with that. Ended up leaving, worked at a hospital, a big trauma center here in the ER for a little bit. Little did I know that I don't do well with blood.
Bro, I got a story around that, but we won't get into it right now. But yeah, keep going.
So passed out a couple times. In the ER, just not a good situation. I ended up actually falling back, hitting my head one time and getting a concussion.
No.
So crazy stuff. Wasn't the right fit, obviously.
So you went from employee to patient in a minute.
I did. Yeah, but literally nurses, they the code blue, and all these nurses come rushing, and I felt terrible. I was so embarrassed, but it was a learning curve, So ended up leaving there April of 2022, and 2.5 weeks later is when I got my first wholesaling deal. And so I'd been working part-time, maybe 2-3 hours at most, because I was working all day at the hospital, and there was an hour commute each way.
Yes.
So got my very first deal May 6th of 2022.
Okay.
And since then, I have done 16 deals.
My gosh.
And so it's been about a little bit over a year and a half. We're closing.
Okay.
Next May will be 2 years.
Phenomenal. Yeah. What are you averaging right now in monthly income from this?
On average, it comes down to about maybe 7,000-8,000 per month across the 18 months. But this month, things kind of skyrocketed, and I've got 43,000 in escrow. 18 of it actually just closed today, which is exciting. A big monster deal out in Pasadena, California.
Yes.
And then I got 25K in escrow.
And that deal in Pasadena, walk me through it, because I know there are some moving pieces there. And, here's the thing about Southern California, which I find very interesting, right? First and foremost, are the majority of your deals in SoCal?
Majority are actually in Florida.
Okay, so the majority of your business you're doing in Florida. This deal you're doing in Southern California. There's there is a mindset that exists in Southern California that wholesaling is, difficult to do, that, there's just no deals. There's, nobody wants to talk to you. There's, agents are all crazy. No one will assign a contract, blah, 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 blah. Look, you can find a problem in anything you're looking at, right? There's always an opportunity to take a perspective of it's going to be hard and it's going to be difficult. But there's also the way to look at a situation and say, no, this is an incredible challenge. This is wonderful. And I have to, and these are the obstacles I have to overcome. And this is the pathway on how I overcome them. And then you do, right? So walk us through this deal in Pasadena. Because what I really want to do with this right now is I want to shatter people's limiting beliefs about what it's like to work a wholesale deal in SoCal. So take it away.
Agent outreach is the lead gen method I used.
Because the average cost per deal for a contract in SoCal, if you're doing direct mail, is like over $20,000. So
yeah.
Outreach is for the win. What did you use to do agent outreach on that?
Man, I just looked at realtor.com.
Yep.
I'm old school right now. I'm about to integrate systems. So for anybody out there who's got a belief where they have to have all the fancy systems in order to make it, it's not true. I use Google Sheets right now to put my agent info in, and it's very old school, but it works. And so reached out to him November 6th, had the deal under contract November 7th. And we had a buyer the next day. This deal was interesting. It was supposed to close November 22nd, the day before Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Buyer wasn't performing, wouldn't get the assignment contract in, couldn't get a hold of the city of Pasadena for this or that, and just was dragging his feet. 4 closing dates came and passed, and he still hadn't funded the deal. We dropped that buyer, pulled in a new buyer, and this was last Thursday, and he closed within a week. So we had all kinds of obstacles, but my partner and I on this one, we actually had a very similar deal back in May in SoCal, and that one fell apart, and we learned from that one and made this one happen. So it's super
awesome. What did you do for dispo on that deal?
I used my good friend Matt Pierce for dispo on that deal.
Amazing. Good old Matt Pierce. He is a wonderful leader in the Astro community. And, he's done so many deals with people all across the country. A fabulous guy. If you guys haven't met Matt Pierce yet, definitely take, search for him in my YouTube channel. He's there. But he's a genuine salt of the earth kind of guy. And, he absolutely gets it done. So you JV'd that deal. Your split of that was 17,000 then?
My split was 18,333. We split 55K 3 ways, actually. There was a third part. So it was a big assignment. Split it, and nonetheless, as the deal closed.
Awesome. Is that a third person that's in the deal? Is that another Astro community member as well?
He's actually outside of Astro. So.
Okay, cool. So we have 2 Astro community members, somebody on the outside of Astro working together. So guys, if you're watching this right now, right, and you're not in the community, that doesn't matter, right? Because we are so inclusive. We want to work with everybody, right? And so it really is to your benefit to find a way to infiltrate the Astro community, whether it be by connecting with Isaiah Kline over here or somebody else that you've watched on To the Moon. But it's very important that you guys make these connections because the community is powerful. Isaiah, I want to ask you about your experience with the community, right? Because, people look at the, at Astroflipping, they're like, well, what is it? Is it a course? Is it a mentorship? Is it, a group of people? Is it a cult? Speak to the power of the community and like what that has been able to do for you in your business, please.
In 2 words, is life-changing. It's extremely rewarding community. You got, one-on-one calls with Jamil every Tuesday, or community calls, I should say. Provides tons of value, answers all kinds of questions. You've got, hundreds of people on every call who are, asking the same questions you might have. And now they're, you're able to provide answers for everyone else in the community. Everyone else in the community, I think we're close to 5,000 people now.
Correct.
But everyone is extremely kind. They're willing to help. They're willing to drop everything, take a phone call, I see posts in Astro all the time where someone's asking a question and someone's like, just give me a call, man. Here's my number. I'll help you, solve the issue or whatever. but I had done 2 deals prior to Astro, and since joining, then that's when the other 14 deals have come.
Awesome.
There's just incredible Dispo members in the group, and everyone's just so willing to help and very, very kind.
So it's interesting, right? Because you were already wholesaling. You had already done 2 deals prior to joining the community, and so there's a thought process out there, right? That's like, hey, if I already know what I'm doing, then there's no point to learning more, right? Or doing it differently. So what were you doing prior to Astro for marketing to get your deals, and how does that compare to what you're doing right now, to give people sort of a juxtaposition of, before, this is the way, this is how much it cost me for a contract, this is how I sold it, this is how I made, this is how much money I made, this is, kind of distill that for me, if you would, as a comparison.
So I'll start where I first learned about wholesaling, and that was through an ad I saw of you on actually Amazon FBA YouTube videos is what I was initially looking, and I saw your ad pop up. You were sitting in front of some sort of whiteboard or something.
Yeah.
And so I started learning about that. I actually found Jerry Norton.
Phenomenal guy, by the way. I love Jerry, good friend of mine.
And so he does a lot of MLS stuff, and so that's where I kind of started. So I have 3 entire notebook sheets of paper, well, not sheets of paper, but notebooks, where every single page is filled of MLS deals that I comped, called on, whatever. At the time, once I made an offer, if they said no, I never followed up. So there was a huge learning curve and I was so confused as to why I wasn't getting deals. But as we know, the follow-up, there's so much power in that. And so it took me a long time, through a lot of part-time work, getting my first deal. But when I did, I started following up with MLS offers more often after making the initial offer. And then I ended up finding Astro, and that's when I learned a little bit more targeted approach. And so I've been able to maximize my time, maximize my approach, and then strategically implement a plan to make a lot of deals happen here. So
that's phenomenal, bro. And it's a really interesting thing because you're educated, right? You've been to college and you've had a wide range of careers from financial. How did you become a financial advisor, first and foremost? Because it's that career to me is interesting because you're actually giving people financial advice, right? So were you wealthy, or do you feel like at the time that you were giving financial advice that you should have been a financial advisor?
To be completely honest, no, because the first thing you do is just you call your family and friends and hope kind of someone throws you a bone.
Right.
And so that's kind of what you're banking on to get started. It's a very brutal business. Now, I did do a lot of JVs essentially with older and more wiser advisors.
Awesome.
But I didn't even know how to read a life insurance policy at the time. I was learning as we were talking to, prospects, and it was definitely a learning curve. It just wasn't quite the right fit for me. So
understood. But your education, because I've got a degree in science. I have a degree in physiology. For me, I can't necessarily say that I've applied anything that came out of my university situation in my world now, right? They're completely disconnected. But so many people, and it's interesting because I had an opportunity to talk to one of the advisors at Penn State, and he was very honest with me. I asked him, how many people out of 10 that attend Penn State and get a degree actually leave Penn State and do something in the field they studied in? And the answer was about 0.5 out of 10. So not even one out of 10 people will typically come out and actually use their degree and do something in that field. 0.5 out of 10 is the average, right? And so when you were making the decision to go to college, and when the reality of like, man, I spent 4 years or however long you did spent in college on your undergrad degree, was there a point where you were like, man, what am I doing here?
The answer is twofold. I would never replace the relationships I built in college. Those are irreplaceable. But the money I spent, I wish I would not have.
Yeah.
You can do this straight out of high school. You can do this probably when you're in high school. I mean, look at Andy Wrong.
Right.
You can do this at a younger age. So there was a time where I did kind of wonder if there was a business I could start in college. I would say at the end of the day, the relationships that I built in college were worth it, though. I would say that.
Awesome. And what a phenomenal answer there, bro. Because you know what, you actually just broadened my perspective as well. Because some of the relationships that I made in university, I still engage with today. And so there is absolutely the reality that you meet wonderful people. Hopefully you meet wonderful people when you're in that time, but you probably could attain the same kind of thing if you just hung out at the college library and and just mingled with folks at the college bar or whatever. You could meet all kinds of fun people without having to spend $70,000 on your college education.
So, I mean, somewhere around there. Obviously, after academic scholarships, a lot less. But
Okay.
yeah, private schools aren't cheap.
No, they're not. And so here we are, though, right? Where you're in this situation now. You've got a thriving business. You're steadily making money. A consistency is there. You're averaging, $8,000 a month. This $43,000 a month is going to skew it all up. And so, you'll probably get to a point where you're averaging, $15,000 to $20,000 a month here very shortly, if you haven't already done that with this new deal. And so, you've really started to like take shape and build form and structure to what's happening. And now you're going to systemize and you're going to organize and probably increase the efficiencies of what you're doing in your business so that you can do more and scale more. Are you in a partnership with somebody right now, or are you doing this, lone wolf?
This is lone wolf right now. I am doing tons of partnerships, unofficial partnerships with people.
Like JVs within the community and outside of the community. Yeah, it's super smart to be doing that. Always have your network expanding, always be of service to people out there, continue to wave the Astro flag and show folks that, we are a community of very kind, helpful, generous and giving people. And we're absolutely open to sharing our knowledge and expertise and our connections and our opportunities. But it requires your effort. It requires you to engage with us, right? And so I want to give people an opportunity to work with you, Isaiah. How do people get a hold of you? How would you, where would you like people to be reaching out to you for deals? Help us understand how people can get into Isaiah's world and make some money.
So you can definitely find me on Facebook. You can always DM me to get my phone number there. But my email, IsaiahKline17@gmail.com.
Were you 17 when you opened that Gmail account?
No, that was my soccer number.
Okay, cool.
So, or you can hit me up on Instagram, IsaiahKline17 there too. So it's pretty consistent across the board. But
wonderful. Yeah. If there's somebody out there right now sitting in a dark room or in a dark place because they're financially insecure, maybe they're going through something personally in a health situation, or life is kind of beating them up, and there's a lot of people right now, especially through 2023, who have been shaking it rough, getting life handed to them in really difficult ways. What advice would you give to somebody that's sitting in that kind of a situation right now?
Yeah, first and foremost, I was there. I've been there before. It's you feel like you have your back up against the wall. But as difficult as it may be, or as easy as it may sound for me to say this, you basically have two decisions to make. You can either kind of fold under the pressure, or you can decide to make something of yourself. I mean, I think one of my favorite sayings, Jamil, is diamonds. One of the most beautiful gems are made through a process of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're facing times of pressure and strife, I mean, now's the time to make something of yourself. Whether it's wholesaling, we would always love to have you in the community. And it's truly a very simple concept in wholesaling. It just takes extreme levels of consistency and dedication and discovering your why, who the people you are doing this for. For me, it's sacrifice now so I can make the dream lives of my future family become a reality. That's
Amen.
What it's all about for me, man.
Amen, brother.
you know, my rock, my fiance, Allie, you know, that's who I do this for, you know, my family support system, you know, surround yourself with like-minded people. But yeah, make that choice. You know, you owe it to yourself to live a comfortable lifestyle, and don't fold under the pressure. You know, yeah, that's what I'll say.
My man, dude. Isaiah, look, it's been a phenomenal opportunity here to get to chat with you a little bit more and hear about your successes in this, but also to really understand the reality of it, right? It's a process. It's going to take time. You have to learn the ropes, and it is a simple business, but it requires you to learn some specific things, right? And so
Sure.
to everybody tuning in and watching this, keep your heads up, guys. Every one of you deserve an incredible life, and you all have the opportunity to make something beautiful for yourselves if you don't fold under pressure. Just as Isaiah said today, that's what's going to make you a diamond, and every one of you sparkle like it. So, my brother, so good to see you. So great to hear about this today. Guys, reach out to Isaiah. He wants to do business with you, whether it's in Florida, Southern California, wherever it is. Reach out to Isaiah. He wants to work with you. And if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, because we want to be able to continue helping you in your journey and learning about wholesaling real estate. And the only way to do that, guys, is by getting notified when I leave Isaiah a comment. Let him know that you were inspired by him. Let him know how this episode hit you, what it made you feel, and if it changed you. And it's always important to look back and be able to share with people who have inspired us how they did so. So until the next time, guys, we'll be back.